that no one would ever suspect that. It's pure genius is what it is, pure evil genius. Tell us what the generals told you. I mean, the reason I interrupted, I heard a crackle on your line and thought it had disconnected. It sounded like a disconnection in my ear. I guess they may be thinking about disconnecting you right now. Bob, I don't think you've ever talked about this before.
No, I haven't. And both gentlemen are dead now, and I suppose I can talk about it. But they just simply told me that. And how it came up, as I remember now, is that they were citing the fact, and they were both still Nazis. I mean, they believed in the fascist government of Germany, and they did until they died. And they were telling me about the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, who had sent several divisions of men to fight on the Eastern Front, and they were accompanied by their mullahs and all their own food and all of the things that that separate Muslim group would need, and how they had fought quite valiantly against the Russians. And that's how it came up. That's how it came up the first time. And the second time was another conversation. But I saw these people fairly frequently over a 10, 15-year period. So there were a lot of other things I picked up as well, but not to do with this subject.
Well, that's because they were using the Nazis here in the U.S., but also in Europe to fight the Russians during the Cold War, and that's when you were there. Because I keep watching the so-called Israeli leadership always claiming how much they love Jews, love Israel, but then in every case, we actually see the opposite going on behind the scenes. There's something very sophisticated going on in all of this. And then you got the Rockefellers claiming they love all these Jewish causes, but they were Nazis at the time. They're Nazis today. They funded the whole deal. I mean, I guess it's that the globalists are masters of funding all the sides, or is it more sophisticated?
No, they fund both sides. Usually there's two sides. Sometimes there's three or four, but usually two. And that goes back deeply into history. This is nothing new. And you know, the people who are the power behind governments or whatever, they have always, especially when they get in financial trouble, say, well, we're going to have another war. And so they tell the person who's running Rome at the time, look, you know, this whole economy is going to fall apart. You better go over and kick the crap out of those Gauls over there, or whatever. We're going to have a war going.
Well, Bob, since we got into this now, let's cover it now. We'll hit the economy and WikiLeaks and other developments at the end of the hour. I don't know if you saw this Christopher Hitchens report. Christopher Hitchens' latest Nixon tape buries Kissinger reputation. These tapes are public. We can't play them. There's so much Nixon cussing. I'm not even going to attempt to beep it out. But we know in the end Kissinger set up Nixon. And I would think that this was just Kissinger going along with Nixon and playing like he was an anti-Semite. If I hadn't gotten the intel from you and Anthony Sutton and countless others that he was a Russian agent, that's now coming out mainstream news, that he was a Rothschild agent. His code name was what, Bohr, or the Bohr, and that the other statements and other things Kissinger did. Now he's behind the eugenics, and it turned out he was behind earlier helping ship the radiation systems machines over to Israel. I mean, this guy, who is this guy from your deep research? I mean, what is going on with him saying that, hey, let the Russians kill Jews, it's, you know, we don't care, and now Jewish groups are attacking Hitchens for criticizing him?
Well, that's understandable, because I don't think that they understand the full import of what this man is. He's a man for all seasons. He is whatever you want him to be. If he's with a group of Catholics, oh, he loves Catholics. If he's with a group of black people, he loves them as well. And he's with Jewish people, he loves them as well. But he's diabolically evil, and he's also a pervert.
And that's from your intelligence sources?
Absolutely. In fact, I was in Rome one time, and it just happened. I was going over to Observatore Romano, which is a newspaper there, and I was going over with a couple of other people, some of who I had picked up with in intelligence. And there was a newspaper on the stand, and it said in Italian, "Hide your children, Henry Kissinger's coming to town." I'll never forget it. I was thunderstruck.
All right, let's come back, and I'm going to give folks my view on this whole situation, and I'm going to get Bob Chapman's take. Then we're getting into the economy and a host of other issues. But, I mean, where's the ADL with Israel irradiating 110,000 of their own children? Poor Sephardic, darker-skinned Jews. I mean, what's going on here, folks? This is Nazism. This is eugenics. We'll be right back.
Men, take control of your prostate health without the risk of nasty side effects with Prostate Secure. Early detection, regular prostate exams, and PSA tests are a must for men over 40. Listen, if you have symptoms of an enlarged prostate but don't want to take a drug with possible nasty side effects, or if you're over 40, then use Prostate Secure, a natural dietary supplement for men. Prostate Secure is a scientifically formulated blend of clinically significant amounts of natural ingredients. It brings together the most powerful plant sterols like beta-cytosterol and saw palmetto, along with antioxidants such as vitamin D3, resveratrol, and lycopene to support good prostate health, proper urinary flow, function, and more. Check out prostatesecure.com. Order online and save 10% with promo code SAVE10 or call 1-800-239-9432. That's 800-239-9432. Or visit prostatesecure.com. Take control of your prostate health naturally with Prostate Secure.
They helped to create a new world order.
We are part of a new world order.
A new world order based upon collective action.
Invisible Empire is a damning indictment of the globalists through their own words and documents.
The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
It means all the world under their control.
The United Nations would take over America. The Trilateral Commission would control the world.
Invisible Empire chronicles how men of power and influence have worked in stealth for centuries to establish an oppressive world government.
I believe, first of all, that we now need nothing short of a world constitution for the global financial system.
Global governance with the establishment of the G20.
So it's going to be an inner ruling elite and then everyone else. And I got news for you. You're everyone else.
Invisible Empire. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, or watch it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Going solar for cheap is as easy as 1, 2, 3. If you want to go solar but thought the setup costs were too high, now you can build your own solar panels for less than $200. Don't laugh. We've sold over 45,000 solar do-it-yourself kits. Watch our introduction video at 123cheapsolarvideo.com. The video is free, but it won't last long. Save money on electric bills and get off the grid. Go to 123cheapsolarvideo.com right now. Our website again is 123cheapsolarvideo.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
What if you could enjoy a refreshing cigarette without worrying about your health? Great news! Now you can enjoy everything you love about a cigarette without everything you hate. It's called the VaporMate e-cig, and it's made by Smokeaway, so you know it's good. VaporMate utilizes patented microelectronic technology that mixes rich tobacco flavor with harmless water vapor. It tastes like a cigarette, smokes like a cigarette, and best of all, it calms you down like a cigarette should. And if you call in the next 30 minutes, we'll give you your VaporMate e-cig kit valued at $129 free. No more secondhand smoke, smelly clothes, hacking and coughing. Just the great flavor and calming sensation of a real cigarette you can smoke anywhere. Claim your VaporMate when you get your tobacco-flavored filters free. A $129 value, yours free. Imagine the money you'll save each month, but you must call now.
Call 800-540-7570. That's 800-540-7570. Again, 1-800-540-7570.
Going back to Bob Chapman, then we're getting into the economy and a lot more coming up. There's thousands of data points here, so it's hard to give people a full image of this until they've studied it. But Over and over again, Hal Turner turns out to be a Fed, the big white supremacist who attacked yours truly on an almost daily basis. It comes out in news, oh, these Klan groups or Nazi groups that march through black neighborhoods. Turns out they're all Feds. They're all cops. There's no one in the group. I mean, that's come out in the Orlando News, other newspapers in Ohio. This stuff comes out. And then it's used to create racial division. And then you've got the Southern Poverty Law Center with their people inside Elohim City running it, connected to McVeigh. I mean, it just goes on and on. But studying history, if you go back, people following the Bible in the Dark Ages would not allow Christians to lend money. It was called usury. But the royals in Spain, France, and other areas, they learned how to let an unpopular minority do it, claiming it was okay under their religion. And this is in mainline history books. They would then have pogroms every 50, 100 years, you know, it varied, and rob them of the wealth. And so they kind of just chose some of the Jewish moneylenders who would kind of run pawn shops. That's how it started. That's where the Rothschilds came from in Germany. And then they would set that up. Now, since then, the Rothschilds have married in with the royalty and, you know, are definitely up there at the top of the pyramid. But then you see them funding eugenics. You see them funding, and it's more than just funding both sides. I mean, why would Israel take 110,000 Sephardic Jewish children and kill many of them with radiation and maim others? And then you add all these other, and then you've got Kissinger. There's been other famous quotes, you know, in the Israeli news where the light-skinned Israelis, you know, make fun of the dark-skinned Israelis. I mean, they have a really racist name. It's the same name they use for black people here in this country, you know, the racists use. And we see Kissinger saying, so what if they kill all the Jews in these are on tape, you know, in Russia. It's just all part of this cold-bloodedness. And so that's why it's used as a political weapon, anti-Semitism, against those who aren't anti-Semitic. And then Jews who are on the grassroots aren't involved in any corruption or anything. It's basically a Jewish mafia who probably aren't even Jewish, just parading around using this as a weapon. And at the end of the day, they're just globalists who are into eugenics, like all these other elite groups. And once you realize that, it depoliticizes it, and you can see clearly what's happening. Bob Chapman, your comments on what I just said.
And it de-religiousizes it, if there's such a word, and that's very important. In Israel, and we have many people who are Jewish subscribers. There's a distinction, and there always has been, between the people who came from Europe and Eastern Europe, generally called the Ashkenazi, and the Sephardic Jews who are, we'll call them Mediterranean Jews, who are darker in complexion, and they're different, and they, in some parts, believe in Judaism in a different way, a slightly different way.
And they've done the DNA test. They've done the DNA test. They have a lot more of the original, you know, Hebrew blood.
They probably have 98% more.
Yeah.
And then there was an Operation Moses that went on during the early 1980s, and they took the Falasha Jews from Ethiopia, and they brought them to Israel, and they're treated terribly. And so there is a social pecking order there. And you find that in most countries.
Yeah.
In Latin America, where I spent a lot of time in recent years, people who are lighter skinned and have hazel or blue eyes tend to like to marry with people who look the same, generally speaking. And so there is this difference in people in what they are and what they want to continue to be. And it is racism, there's no question.
And the point is, this is a human condition, and there's another level to it. That's why the federal government, and Castine admits this, funds all this infighting with each other, because, you know, if people think it's the Catholics that run it, or it's the Jews, or it's the Masons, no, it's corrupt people at the top of all these organizations that have just become basically mafias, and they're feeding on the groups under them who think that they're there to protect them.
Well, there's a good example is the balkanization of Eastern Europe, which started in the 1500s. And the reason that the British and others, Germans as well, would balkanize countries. In other words, they'd take an area and where they would